What's up, everybody? Your boy D with DNC TV. I got the handsome, very strapping, very strong Joe Rodriguez here. He is a part of Diego Montana. We're going to get to this in a second. Joe, you have a really interesting start in the business.
Yeah, it was one of those where, I guess, right place at the right time,
Right.
kind of thing. Basically, my sister had a role in a movie. Okay, so my dad didn't want her going by herself. It was going to be filmed in Bronzeville. My sister going by herself. So
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Of course, typical thing that Big Brothers got to do.
He probably hired you for much more than that, like when it comes to her.
Yeah, that was just one of many.
Okay.
So we show up, and then the guy looks at me. You want to be movie? I'm like thinking, dead body number 2 or something. Hey, cool, why not?
Yeah,
whatever.
I can play that.
Yeah, of course, anybody can play that. So then you go in there, and he goes, "Okay, man, you're gonna drive this car," which I had another Corvette at the time. So he's like, "You're gonna drive this car, and you're gonna race this guy, and you're gonna say this, this, and this."
Whoa.
And I was like, whoa, I'm getting like a part. So I'm not questioning anything. I'm like, yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
So we do my thing, whatever. At the end of the day, I find out that the guy that was there, they saw me and they fired that guy and they gave me the role. Like right there and then.
So that guy is watching now, and he feels upset.
I would say so.
Maybe he was dead body number 2 after that.
He probably was.
He probably died inside after he got fired.
Well, the thing was, there was a Camaro that just peeled out all of a sudden out of the blue when we were there on set.
It's like goddamn fan.
Yeah, something like that. So that's how I got started in biz.
That's awesome, man.
And then after I worked with the director Fernando, he's the one that called me back for that movie.
That's awesome. Diego Montana. Now, you gotta tell me, because Mario Almada is like, I'm not Mexican, but my grandmother, she watched old Mexican westerns, and he used to do urban westerns, and he used to do some action stuff.
Yep.
But the crazy part, he has the Guinness World Record for
being in the most movies.
Over 300 movies. This beats Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Or
everything.
Nicolas Cage, because he does a movie like every 8 hours.
Pretty much.
But,
never ages either.
So I gotta ask you, necessarily you weren't in any scene with him.
No, I wasn't fortunate enough to have scenes with him because he couldn't travel. So they actually have to go to Mexico where he lived to film his scenes.
He passed away 3 years ago.
About 2.5, 3 years ago. Yeah.
Okay, so I gotta ask you, you grew up out here. You moved out here when you were 10.
Yeah.
Okay, you grew up out here. Your formative years were here. What does that even feel like? This is his last movie. So after 70 years and 300 movies, you are a part of his last one.
It's one of those things where, like you said, we grew up watching these movies with our parents. And this was the guy whose ammo never ran out. And he had a freaking revolver with 6 shots.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was never like, hey, let me stop and reload. It was just shot after shot after shot. And that was the appeal of it.
Yeah.
So
part of the cheesiness type of thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna have a little bit of cheese with everything.
Yeah, of course.
So it was one of those things. So for me, it was to be able to tell my dad, hey, I'm in a movie with Mario Almada.
And how did your dad react?
My dad was like, it's kind of like, my little boy, you just can't explain that overwhelming feeling of like joy from it. I don't know, it's weird. It's weird.
But he's still a man, so he's like,
of course.
Cool.
Like,
Yeah. That's good for you.
Yeah, inside he's
Before
like,
he runs away.
yeah, exactly. So I got to show him the movie, and he got to see the movie, and he was just like, wow, you're in a movie with Mario Almada. Like I said, I didn't have any scenes directly with him.
Right.
But still,
Oh, you're in the credits.
Exactly.
It counts. You're not dead body number 2.
I am not on this one.
That's
exactly.
awesome. But that's gotta be cool. That had to have been a cool moment between your father and yourself, because of somebody else. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you're in the acting business, and you're gonna move on to bigger and better things. I feel. I personally support you.
Thank you.
And you can be that guy. Like, how does it feel when you're in a business and you're in something that takes emotions out of somebody to the point that it'll just stick with them, and they'll always go back to that role, they'll always go back to that movie, they'll always say, we were just talking about Con Air.
Oh yeah.
And I cry like a baby no matter what when he meets his daughter. And I have a daughter. So like, I'll always go back to that. How do you feel being in a business and possibly having a role that can do that for somebody.
Well, it's one of those things where you only could go back and relate to the experiences you had with actors like that. So I want to be able to give that experience to somebody else, even if it's just one person, my entire career. But just to know that I'm able to have that type of impact, it's just it's like, it's unreal. It's like, really? And you don't realize that what you portray on TV or on screen means something totally different to somebody else than for you. It was just a role I was playing. Somebody else is like, wow, like when you see The Rock on TV, you know, like yeah, exactly. Everybody
smell it. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So it's, if I could be that to somebody, even like I said, if it's just to one person, for me, it's just totally worth it.
It reminds me of, I got to meet when I was a kid. I got to go to a lot of wrestling shows. I'm obsessed with pro wrestling, and I bother some people with it. But I got to meet Hulk Hogan, and I didn't get to picture the autograph. Like, for me, sometimes it's just the experience of having the conversation.
Yeah.
So I was like, I need to tell you something. And he goes, sure, brother. And I was like, oh crap, he called me brother. But I told him, I'm like, I didn't have my father in my life. So after my brother, my grandfather, you had the biggest male influence in my childhood. And I know he knows he was everybody's hero, but I don't know if he heard it like that. I told him, I'm like, I really did drink my milk, and I really did say my prayers, and I took my vitamins because you said so.
Yeah.
So I guess I want to thank you for keeping me in a straight line as a kid. He just looked at me, he was just like wow. Like, he kind of just did one of these and walked away. And I was just like, that's what people can do for you.
Yeah.
He's just rolling around in the ring, you know, doing this, but he's that person for somebody.
Yeah, definitely.
You know? I want to talk, we have a mutual love for cars.
Oh, yeah.
I want to talk about Lady in Red.
Oh, Lady in Red, man, that's my wife can say it's an obsession, and I say it's a passion.
Mistress.
Oh, my mistress, yeah. Hence the name, right?
Nice.
It's after the song, really.
Yeah, of course.
But no, man, I'm a huge car fanatic, and specifically Corvettes. Specifically Corvettes. I mean, I love all cars, right? But that's my car. That's what I like.
You go to a lot of car shows,
I do a lot of shows down here, and I do a lot of shows up in San Antonio, Dallas, Houston, bigger shows, stuff like that. Austin as well. But yeah, it's a passion, and it's one of those things too that when you see a kid come up and look at your car, and they're just like, wow.
You're like, I drive that.
You're like, yeah, you know what's inside? It's my little watch. Click.
Nice.
But it's the same way like when you were a kid and you saw a car like that, you were just like enamored with it. Like, wow.
Yeah, but back when we were a kid, like the way they impressed people was like, got AM and FM in there.
Oh,
Check
that's
it out.
right. Both.
I could just hit a button and the window goes down before we had to grab the thing. My first car was a 1990 Acura Integra. It was an RS, but it had an LS engine.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
Swap already, huh?
I did like 21s in it, you know, but but my mother, when I turned 16, she's like, it was just her.
Yeah.
So she's like, you know all that stuff you wanted that I couldn't afford? I was like, yeah. She's like, you can have it now. I'm like, we hit the lotto? She's like, no, you can get a job. I was like, nice. Oh wow. So I'm very proud of that car because every dollar that was paid to get that car, I worked for it myself. You know,
oh yeah, that's
a year and a half, and it's a piece of crap, but it was my piece of. And in Jersey though, it's different in Texas because what was your first car?
My first car was a 1984 Ford Bronco.
Nice.
With a 351 Windsor.
Really? Yeah. Sweet. You see, I noticed that the rite of passage out here is having a truck.
Yeah.
In Jersey, we work from the inside out. No matter what that car looks like, you need a sound system, and it needs to be loud. Like you need to hear me from down the block. So it was red, and I had to crank it. Like my buddies would pull up next to me, and I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" Yeah. And I had that sound system, and it was killer. I had like two 12s in the back with some tweeters on the doors and everything. We would go to Englishtown, New Jersey, and we would run our cars. But you were saying Ford. My brother's first car was a Ford Pro. It was black, but you couldn't see the black because it was just covered in yellow stickers. And it had yellow rims. They had the car club going. It was great, but...
so was he kind of going for like the Batman theme, yellow and black?
He liked Batman.
Okay.
He broke his arm because he thought he was Batman. Jumped out the second story window.
Hey, some of us might have done that thinking they're Hulk Hogan. So
Yeah, I did that thinking, I think it was Macho Man for me.
Oh, okay.
That was my guy. Yeah, that was my guy. But when you're doing the card club stuff, you have this brotherhood.
Yeah.
And now filming the movie that you're doing now, does that easily, like, everybody has a mutual passion, and your character in Secuestro de Karla
Parks.
I always want to say Banks. I don't know who the hell Banks is, but Secuestro de Karla Parks. You guys are brothers, you know, and you feel the same way when you get a group of guys together who have the same passion.
Yeah, basically, it really just transfers over, regardless of what the connection is, as far as it's over cars or shared military experience. It doesn't matter what brought you together, but the fact that you're together now and you guys can relate with whatever subject that is, whether it's cars, military, you know, or your partner, your cop, doesn't matter. It's that brotherhood that you have a similar interest, similar passion that probably nobody else understands. But that person next to you.
Yeah.
That's what makes the difference. Because you can explain it to somebody who doesn't get it.
They don't get it.
They don't get it.
No.
But you explain it to somebody who gets it, and you really don't even have to say anything. You're just like, yeah. You don't get it.
So meeting pretty much perfect strangers when you go into a movie set, and now having this bond, how does that translate into life? Like, some people are just afraid to reach out, shake a hand, say hi, maybe even smile to somebody.
Yeah.
What does the movie business teach you about, I mean, behind the scenes? What does that teach you about starting relationships with people that are perfect strangers from different walks of life?
Well, the funny part is, like, when I was in high school, I was a real introvert. Now, I'm a extroverted introvert, the way to put it.
The shell's cracked.
Yeah, like, I'll pop out. But when I pop out, I pop out. So that's the thing. Like, I can be real by myself, or I can just be all over the place. So when I go on set, it's like, you meet people you haven't met before, like you mentioned. And you all of a sudden have that connection already because we're there for a similar passion. And then you get to meet the person, find a background besides the acting, because we're there for that.
Yeah.
And then you get to see the different walks of life from each person. Like we mentioned Osvaldo, right? Like, he's been in big movies, Jurassic World, all that stuff, right? And when you met him at the beginning, you're like, oh man, it's crazy.
Yeah.
You know? Like, suck next to him, or like, But then when you talk to him, and he's awesome, and he shares his experience, he gives you tips, and he's a real humble guy, military experience as well. So that brotherhood was like real quick. And like I said, I was I was a medic, so I did 911. So you still have that same aspect of it, to where you've been through some shit with your partner and with other, like, local PD and stuff, and you go to car accidents and stuff like that. So you have that relationship. So that easily is transferable when you meet somebody with a similar background. And then when you meet people that are different on the set, well, hey, you know what? Your common factor is the movies. You just bond off of that.
Nice. We're gonna check out Joe Rodriguez right now in a scene from Diego, Montana, with Mario Almada, which is a huge Mexican legend. He's had the opportunity to be in the last movie that he's done. So check this scene. Oh, I'm sorry. What can we expect?
Well, actually, I have the one where I play a cartel boss, so I'm talking to this other cartel boss I'm gonna do business with. It's kind of like tension and comedy at the same time.
Okay.
It's a cool scene, so you'll like it.
Check it out.
¿Qué pasó, don Pedro? ¿Le gusta alguna?
La verdad me gustan todas, pero me gusta más esa, está bien buena.
¿Cuál?
La que está ahí.
¿Melissa? Don Pedro, te presento a mi hermana.
Mucho gusto, pero no me refería a ella, me refiero a la otra que está allá.
Lorena. Don Pedro, te presento a mi otra hermana.
Mucho gusto. Pero tampoco me refería a ella. Me refería
Don Pedro, tantas formalidades me estresan. Llámame Tigre. Y no son mis hermanas. Pedro, cuando gustes, ya sabes.
A mí llámame Don Pedro. Llámame Pedro.
Me caes bien, Pedro. ¿Listo para hacer negocios?
Awesome. Dude, you playing a cartel boss, that had to have been fun.
Dude, it was like,
I heard the bad guy has the coolest lines, gets all the ladies, coolest clothes.
yeah, it kind of lived up to that.
Yeah.
Except, I was kind of pretending I'm not really that cool or that suave or whatever. But hey, that is what my wife tells me.
Well, yeah, you have to believe it all the time.
Yeah, I know.
Always knock you down. Once you feel a little Hollywood, like, hey, I got the part, yeah, you still don't fold your laundry though.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. But no, it's fun because you get to, you get to pretend something you're not. You know what I mean? How much more fun does it get?
And being an introvert, that kind of, you don't have to come out too much because you are not coming out.
Mm.
You're just playing somebody still that you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess the way I try to approach a lot of this stuff, because I didn't take acting classes, I didn't do any of that. So for me, I've always been like, am I doing it right?
Mm-hmm.
Look at the director, he's like, yeah, it's good. Like, okay, I'll take your word for it. It's good, it's good. So for me, it was always looking for that acceptance that I did a good job. So I guess I always try even harder. So for me, like when I did the cartel boss, it was like, well, how would I be if I was a cartel boss? What would I do?
No.
You know what I mean? And I kind of just let it go and have it come out. And apparently it did well. I did a good job.
But I mean, you're in there.
Yeah, I'm in there. So
Got
yeah.
that Blu-ray release. How long were you a medic?
I did 7 years of 911.
You gotta okay, because we don't want to get too dark. You gotta tell me your dumbest call.
Dumbest call? Oh man, dude, there's so many. You'd be surprised how many times people call 911 for the dumbest stuff. And then the sad part is that takes you away from actually going and helping someone that's actually
That needs the help.
Yeah, exactly. I've had. And bless their hearts, older people, grandma, grandpa type, and they're home by themselves. You understand. You call 911. You show up, and they go, "What do they call for?" Right? Dispatch tells you, "Oh, possible heart attack." So, man, let's go, genius, right? So you show up, and then Abuelita's there, and she looks completely fine. You're like, hey, are you okay, man? You feeling okay? In Spanish, right? No, sí, mijo, es que me duele el diente.
Oh, so that it's okay.
Yeah, and
That's fine.
yeah, you get it, right? But then you're like, I can't give you anything for a toothache. But you go through the whole night because you want them to feel, you're there to help them out.
If it's an old lady, old man, you're gonna feel fine. You gotta tell me one that's like a 20, 30-year-old dude that just doesn't.
Okay, I'll tell you one. All right. Of course, no names, nothing like that.
No
right?
names.
Okay.
No.
So there was
We're talking about David.
Dude, you know David?
I do know David.
Damn it.
Okay.
His name's not David.
No.
No, this was actually, the skate park in Edinburgh
Okay.
off of Jackson and I forgot what the street is called, but there's a
Got
skate
the
park.
ramps, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. This was, it's been a long time since I've been a medic, right? So it was a long time ago. There was this kid that was skateboarding, and you have the rails, but
So they can do the.
yeah, you can do the grind and all that, right? Okay, so at the end of the rail, sometimes the rail's not smooth. It has a little bump,
Okay.
like a little, that's not shaved off or anything on the metal, right? So this kid's grinding on a skateboard, and then he falls off, and he racks himself, right?
Yeah.
But he was wearing shorts, so his guys got sliced. So his pouch is not containing anything anymore. Just put it that way.
Oh.
So yeah, that was interesting, to say the least.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
But
On that note, Diego Montana is gonna be released on Blu-ray in stores near you. Check them out. Where can they find you on social media?
social media, all three: Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter is at Alpha Joe Rod.
Awesome. Check him out. Check out the lady in red and his wife. Thank you, Joe, so much for your
Oh,
time.
pleasure, man.
All right,
Awesome.
awesome. You guys take care. DNC TV.